You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Who is that on the radio?
Who is that on the radio?
Who is that on the radio?
You really want to know who's on the radio? Come on. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it live with Jeffrey L. Miller. Watch it. It's the best decision you'll ever make. Saturdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. Call or text in live. 478-569-6474. Hashtag Let's Talk with Jeffrey. Check us out on www.instinctradio.net or download the Instinct Radio app in your Apple or your Google Play Store.
Let's give them something to talk about.
It's almost showtime, people. Let's tune in to see what Jeffrey has in store for us tonight. And here's your host, Jeffrey L. Miller.
What's going on, Facebook family? What's going on, Instinct Radio? It's time for Let's Talk About It Live with Jeffrey L. Miller. Every Saturday from 6 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m., this is exactly how we do it. Now, listen, we got a hot show today. When I say a hot show, it's going to be hot. It's going to be off the chain. It's going to be one of those shows that you want to make sure that you record and play over and over and over again. Today, we are talking about the myth of the angry black woman. Now, I got four intelligent, talented guests with us today. Joining us via Skype, we have the incredibly intelligent, love to debate her now. This woman is quick-witted. She brings that heat. HBCU educated. Kai Nicole, welcome back to the show, Kai.
Hi, everybody. Coming to you from California.
All right, all right.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you back. Okay. In keeping with the two names, our next guest is the incredibly talented, just a bundle of energy, all types of entrepreneurial spirit. One of my biggest, I'm a big fan of yours, Tiara Nicole.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now we're at the single names now. One of my new friends, and getting to know her, I've come to find out that she has a lot of depth, a lot of gravitas to us, and that's always refreshing. Alicia Bridges, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, now look, representing the Ball brothers, the Ball intelligent men, the big body car driving brothers. Yes, that's us. Mr. Michael D. Snell, thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Now we got all our people introduced. We got the table set. The agenda for the show is ready. Everybody's on pins and needles ready to get into this thing, but you know what time it is. It's time for you to close your mouth and listen. You ask me some questions. I'll give you some answers from a man's point of view. Now, I got one reason for the habitually single woman and one reason for the habitually single man as to why they might be single. But before we do that, here is my disclaimer. Now, what I'm going to talk about might not apply to you. If it doesn't apply to you, I don't want you to put your foot up in this shoe. But if it does apply to you, I want you to put both feet in both shoes and walk around in them because you're going to learn something tonight. Ladies, you are first. Ladies, some of you might be single because you are manifesting your list. I need you to feel me, ladies. You're manifesting your list. See, on your list, the man has to be this, and that. That's your list. And you actually draw that type of man to you. But that list is not compatible with what you need to thrive in a relationship. I need you to understand. A six-figure brother might come in a controlling package, and you don't want to be controlled. A tall man might come a little short in the give me some page. I'm just saying, you just never know. You are manifesting your list, ladies. And when you get your list, you discover that your list might just be the reason that you're single. What I need you to do, and this is just a recommendation, is your life, you've grown, do what you want to do. Don't be narrow-minded when it comes to the ways of the heart. Because you never know what that man would do for you or how he would be willing to go through a wall just to keep you satisfied, safe, and well taken care of. Failure to do that will keep bringing you that list, and your ass gonna stay single. All right, now, I'm gonna toss it all the way to California on this one now. All right. Kai Nicole, tell me your feelings.
Well, in my book, Date Like a Woman, I already say throw your your list away. So
Ah.
I actually agree with you that
What?
the list is hurting your dating life. So if you do have a list, ladies, and it's a list of preferences, but not what you're compatible with, it's probably hurting your dating life. Seriously. So I'm on the same side as you. Like I agree with that.
We are
I
going
think
to.
compatibility is something completely different from what you prefer. Yeah, you prefer a tall man. Oh yeah, you prefer them to be a six-figure man. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Why not? But that does not mean that you and him are going to have the same interests, that you and him are going to enjoy doing the same things on a Saturday morning. And so compatibility may not be there. So it's better to just get rid of it altogether.
Now, we're going to mark this down in history. This is the first time that Kai Nicole and Jeffrey L. Miller have agreed so easily. Boom, I love it. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great show. All right, Tierra Nicole, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I was the chronic single girl. I even had a YouTube channel called The Amazing Woman's Guide to Loving Her Single Life. And I was single because I had a list. And if he didn't meet the requirements of everything on that list, 1 through 20, yes, I had 20.
20?
But all I have to say is, as soon as I threw my list away and I made a list about the things that I needed to do and fix for myself, if you like it, then he put a ring on me.
There we go. There we go. That's what we're talking about. You get a fist bump on that one. Boom. That's what we're talking about. All right, Alicia, your thoughts?
I have to agree with the other two ladies. I too have had a list. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that it was materialistic or had to do with a lot of physical things, but I do realize that sometimes certain qualities and combinations with other things can give you something different.
Sure.
So now I do have certain not expectations, but it's certain things that I personally look for. Now, instead of saying, okay, I need this man to make a certain amount of money, it's more so, okay, is this person ambitious? And it's not about how much money you make, it's about how financially responsible you are.
Absolutely.
Because I've been in a situation with a man who was making almost $100,000 a year, and the way he spent and the way he regulated his money, we might as well have been making $40,000 a year. So I start looking at really the character of a person and not necessarily physical or what he can bring in the table in that way, because that stuff can change. A person could be making $100,000 today and lose their job tomorrow. The key is, do they have the ambition to do something new and to build from the ground up? So.
Well said. Well said. Yeah. Brother Michael, your input, sir. Look at me.
Okay. From a male's perspective, I would have to say a list will probably be detrimental to any relationship. What I would propose would be some criterias instead. For myself, from a male perspective only, there were some criterias that I had established when I was single and dating. And then one was very, very basic. I would never sleep with a woman that I wouldn't want to have a baby by.
Okay. Okay.
I like that.
And by staying true to that, life has been pretty good with me as far as, dating wise.
All right. I'm digging it. Now, fellas, I know we talked about the ladies, but don't think I'm letting you off the hook. Fellas, you are next. Here we go. Fellas, you might be single because you don't know how to make a damn decision. And when I say making a decision, I mean a well-informed, responsible decision. Now, you might make a decision, but that decision might take you down the wrong street. Now, the first time that woman will say, hey, everybody makes mistakes. He just made that one mistake. The second time, she's going to look at you a little side eye. Like, wait a minute now. Well, did you really think that was a good thing to do? And she's going to have a conversation with you. That third time, she is revisiting the relationship. Now, I need you to understand me. We have to be able to make decisions that allows the partnership that the woman has entered in with us to be fruitful. If we make a decision and it leads her down the wrong path, then we're not keeping our end of the bargain. I can guarantee you that woman is probably just as, if not more, educated than you are. Just as ambitious, if not more ambitious than you are. She's not going to waste time with someone who cannot make a sound decision. Until you get your decision-making skills up, your ass is going to be single. Oh! Nicole. Tiara Nicole, what do you think?
Well, so I have in my chronic single life encountered this many times, and the word decision literally means to cut off. And I think a lot of issues, especially in particular with black men, is that they feel that they have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of almost like a list, but it's like a list of requirements for themselves before they can delve into a relationship. So therefore they feel, I feel like a lot of men, again in particular black men, they feel that they can't make that ultimate decision for their relationship because they have to be at a certain point. They got to be a certain place, a certain stature before that comes along. It's almost like they feel like they are missing out on something, but what they really don't understand that they're really missing is that piece of the puzzle that's going to help them get to where they need to go. So I feel like a lot of times if black men understand, and I know I'm going all off on a right tangent, but if they really, really, truly understand the significance of a black woman in their lives, then I feel like they would be able to make a better decision, be able to cut off from this life of wandering, what else is there, what's next, because she's going to help you to do that, to accomplish that.
Understood. Okay, yeah. Fair enough. Thank you. Alicia.
I think there are a couple of layers to that. I do agree with your point of the black man thinking, or men in general thinking that it's a certain criteria that they have to reach. But I think that is the way it is because of the list that women create. Women say, all right, well, you got to make this amount of money, or you got to have this type of car, or you can't rent, you have to own. And so I think that puts extra pressure on the man to say, okay, well, I'm hearing what these women are saying, so, and I'm not that. So in order for me to get what I want, I need to have these things. So I kind of feel like it encompasses one another. The other issue is I feel like a lot of men don't know themselves. And so it's really hard for them to make a decision. Also, what I found in dating, men have mommy issues just as much as women have daddy issues. And so a lot of times they either trying to figure out, do they want somebody like their mama, or do they want someone as far as removed from their mother as it possibly can be? So I feel like there are a lot of layers to a man being single and making that decision to the type of woman he wants to be with.
I told y'all this show was going to be off the chain. Brother Michael, what do you think? Look, he's pondering. He's pondering what to say. We'll take it.
Well, I'm kind of taken back from the ladies here, but because a lot of things that they've said have been on point. As a single man living here in Atlanta back in, I'm going to tell my age, but back in 1997, it was like a smorgasbord for a single black man. Just being honest.
He's telling the truth.
Transparent. So what happened to me, a significant emotional event happened to me to change my lifestyle. And I adopted my nephew at a young age. So I was 24, 25 years old, and I adopted my nephew because my sister was out there in the streets, still wanted to party. So by doing that, I had to come to the realization that I couldn't present a unhealthy atmosphere from the perspective of a man for him. If I did, I was going to be setting him up for failure. So I had to make a conscious decision about of removing some obstacles out of my way. A lot of them was immaturity. A lot of it was indecisiveness.
Okay.
Some of it was mother issues, which I still deal with that right now. But my mother and I relationship is getting better because she's older and she's slower now. So I can, my tongue is a little bit faster than hers now.
Okay.
But once I removed all those, I was able to see what was truly valued in front of me. And I think that's what a lot of us miss. We're so hungry and so ambitious to get out there to see what all we can get that we have a tendency of overlooking what we have.
Well said. Well said. All right.
Well said.
All right, Kai. Kai Nicole,
I agree with that. I think the decision part, I kind of see where you're going with that, but I think you have to dig a little bit deeper. And I think everybody else just touched on, a lot of times men who are single, who are perpetually single, have some deeper issues emotionally that just are not getting dealt with. And I think that that's partly the person's fault, but also societal, in the sense that we don't teach men to deal with how they feel.
Yes.
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 Express
Oh,
themselves.
yes.
So, and the other thing is, we also teach men to only emotionally express themselves to a romantic partner, which creates this dependency on women to help men with their problems. And that can get really difficult because we're creating an environment of unhealthy relationships where women are taking on the emotional burdens of men a lot. And that leads into the problem about decisions, that leads to the mommy issues. It's all connected, and it's a much deeper issue than we ever talk about, because we rarely talk about men just purely as, you know, dealing with their emotions, dealing with the traumas that they have. Like, we don't talk about male trauma and how their childhoods have affected them and the relationships that they have. It's deeper than this. We could never even finish it in this 2-hour conversation. But I think your decision point is leading towards that. Like, it's going into that emotional part of men.
Well said.
Totally
Well
agree.
said.
Yeah,
Now,
she was on point.
I told y'all that this show was going to be that type of show. Now, we've touched on some significant reasons why men and women are single. We're going to get to the meat of it right now. Let's talk about this myth of the angry black woman. Now, I just want to know, just off the rip, we're going to start with Brother Michael. Where do you think this whole angry black woman thing came from?
I would say, without being factual, my assumption, and you know, words have meaning, so I have to be very careful. My assumption of the stereotype of the angry black woman probably came from us.
I mean, I'm fascinated. Go deeper.
Because we were the ones that would typically perpetuate or say she's just an angry black woman. Or we would show the angry black woman in everything, you know, in many facets of what we do, whether it be on television, whether it be on radio, whether it be in different roles in the media, or on TV. They will always portray the woman, and the woman will always, you know, not always, but usually accept the role of an angry black woman. Very seldom do you see, you know, and I'm saying not saying now, but very seldom do you see the reverse of that, you know, the nurturing woman. But every once in a while, you'll see they have to pull out an angry aspect of her somewhere within the movie. There's never, you know, melancholy all the way through the movie. It always has to be something angry about it. So without me being a woman and without me knowing very much on why black women are angry, you know, we can touch on the subject of, you know, daddy issues. We can touch on the subject of, you know, she's been hurt. We can touch on the subject of, you know, not having enough, you know, productive black men in society, you know, to fulfill the needs of the women here. We can touch on a lot of things. But I think, you know, we either accepted that role, we've embraced that, and I think somewhat we've embraced the role.
Okay. I want to talk to Alicia. Alicia, give me your feedback. Where do you think this angry black woman stereotype or label has come from?
That's a good question, and I really thought about that. Where has it come from? Because I know white women who are angry. You know, I just
A bunch of them. A whole bunch of them.
And maybe part of it is I've been very careful on what I say in terms to race, because I realize in a lot of instances, up until I would say the last 5 years, I wasn't dealing with enough white people, Asian people, Hispanic people to really say that there's a difference in the anger.
Yes.
And I think that's the issue, that a lot of times, even in the article that you sent, you know, Caucasian people, I think it was like 91% of them deal with people of their own race.
Right, absolutely.
And that's not just a trend for white people. That translates
Everybody.
across all ethnicities, all social groups, or whatever. You hang with what you're most comfortable with. So I really think that it's something that really started between our own people, and I don't feel like we really engage with enough cultures or other social groups to say that it's a black woman thing. There are white women, Asian women who are angry as well.
Whole lot of them.
But black women have a good reason to be upset.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
All right. Tiara Nicole, your thoughts.
You know, it's hard for anybody to pinpoint exactly where it came from, but obviously it stemmed from the separation of the black family, you know. So in us not being allowed to feel as we're talking, you know, to feel and actually address how that has affected us. Like everyone is saying, you know, there is a lot of trauma in the black community that we have either not been allowed to, we don't know how to, we don't know where to go to address it and solve it. So there are a lot of underlying trauma from, you know, I mean, they didn't just separate us. I mean, they traumatized us. And that would affect anybody. And, you know, to have, you know, this big, strong, brute man that, you know, you love and he's the protector and the provider of the family. And then all of a sudden, he's ripped from you, and then you are over-sexualized, and then you are left to just bear for the children. That would make anybody angry. It makes me angry thinking about it.
Well
and
said.
because it's an issue that has not been addressed, that has not been rectified, it has just perpetuated on and on and on. And then to add injury to insult, we are then made to feel bad for being angry. No, I'm angry. And I have every right to be. And I think, as y'all see, because that's why you asked me on
That's
this
why
show.
I asked you on the
'cause
show.
This subject
Yes.
right here, it boils my blood.
Well said. Well said. All right. Kai Nicole, your feedback.
So I think we have to put it into context. We have to think about sexism and racism and hierarchy. And when we look at it, you know, white men, because of sexism and racism, are at the top of the food chain. Black women are at the bottom. We're the least thought about, the least respected, the least loved. We have the most to deal with. And I think the stereotype of the angry black woman came from the fact that because we're the most overlooked, because we're the least listened to, when people have microaggressions against us or just disrespectful in general, and when black women speak up, they feel like, oh, she's angry. It's not anger. It's that you are stepping on me and I'm speaking up. And I think that that's where the stereotype came from, is that you have already in your mind made me the smallest person. So why would you, as the smallest person, ever complain about what I'm doing? And so anytime that black women speak up, it's like, oh, you're so angry. That's the first reaction. Like, I'm reacting to your anger. And it's like, no, I'm not angry. You're stepping on me because you're not stepping on me. And that's what people take it to be angry. And we are rightfully angry. Is there a reason to be angry? But our reaction to people being harmful to us is amplified because of the expectation that, oh, we're just insignificant. And so in their minds, this insignificant person is speaking up, and it's like, oh, but you're nobody. Why are you saying that to me? Whereas a white woman who can be way more aggressive and way more angry, you know, she has power, and people see that as power. So they don't see it as anger. They're like, oh, you're in a position, you can say that to me. Whereas a black woman, when we say the same things, we're not in their minds in a position of power. So it's taken as a strong anger, like it's something wrong with you. Like, how could you react to me? So it has, you know, the stereotype comes from somewhere, all stereotypes, but because of where we are in society, especially as Black women, and because we're so overlooked and so undervalued, that anytime we speak up, it's an automatic, oh, she's angry.
Right.
And and we have a right to be.
Exactly.
Almost broke my bell on that one. All right, now listen. Not long ago, Senator Kamala Harris was in a congressional hearing, and she was talking to, I believe it was John McCain, and she was just about to start grilling him. And one of the other senators said something about decorum. Watch the decorum. Right now, we believe you're operating out of, decorum or not in decorum to your colleague. They just kept calling her out. And one of them had the audacity to call her hysterical. Now, if you know the etymology of that word, that's an insult to ever say a woman is behaving hysterically, if you really understand that word. So to your point, Kai Nicole, yes, white men tend to look down on Black women. They tend to do that. Now, here's the part that I believe, and I want to know this from you, Brother Michael. And, well, first of all, I found a couple of clips. I got this poem called The Angry Black Woman, poem number 1. We're going to play that just a second. But, Brother Michael, I want to know, what do we as men, what responsibility do we bear for the anger that our women are having right now? What can we do to help out?
Okay, that now I feel comfortable.
Yeah, there we go.
Before, I must be honest, it felt a little uncomfortable, but now I think what's happening for men, one of the things I talk about a lot to the men that I try to mentor, or our relationships that we're trying to build, is we haven't taken over on the role, our roles efficiently within a relationship. So therefore, a lot of women have been carrying the load for us for decades.
Yeah.
And even before we became somebody in society, before then, the woman was the one that was taking over a lot of the burden. Whether she's been harassed, raped, or whatever, you can go back all the way to slavery on what she had to endure. Now, you fast forward into today's society, maybe, extrapolate a few years from now, where men are just walking around with loss. We have no direction, we have no guidance, we have no discipline, we have no morals, we have no values, we have no integrity. So why wouldn't a Black woman be angry? Why wouldn't a woman be angry?
Right.
If they had to deal with all of that stuff, but then we come to them, trying to get a piece of the pie, but we don't bring any whipped cream to go with the pie. Or we don't bring any milk to go with the cookies.
I'm bringing whipped cream
with
that pie. I'm telling you right now. I'm sorry, wrong show. That was last week's show. Let me get back, where we are now. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
That's okay. No, but because what I try to do with the men is that I'm trying to reinstill when we walked out of the house, and we had pride in what it was we did. We had pride in the way we look.
Yes.
We had pride in the way we carry ourselves. We showed an exemplary character everywhere we went.
Absolutely.
What has happened now? You walk outside this door, you can't tell what's what. And based on most of that, it's about internal. It's all internal about how we feel about ourselves and how we project that out in public, and use this in a negative way. So I'm not the smartest man in the world, but if you send out negative energy, you think you get some positive energy back?
Right.
Well said. Well said. And I'm right there with you. Now, before we show this poem, I just want to know from you, Alicia, Tiara, and Kai, what can men do to help with this anger? What can we do, Alicia?
What can they do? Get therapy for their own emotional issues.
Well said.
I am a big advocate for therapy and just good emotional and mental health. Come back to me.
Okay.
Let me think on it.
No worries. Tiara. Tiara Nicole, I'm sorry.
For sure. I really believe that at this point where we are, therapy absolutely is the answer, in my opinion and in my experience, because I just believe that it's just gone so long and so far that even us trying to communicate what we need from you guys and what we require, or what's wrong with us, is not translating properly. even within my own relationship, and we communicate very well, but there are still some disconnects. And I literally find myself so perplexed at times because it's like I am breaking it down A, B, C. Why can't you understand me? And he's like, I don't know, you know? So I think it is to the point where there's so much buried in each side that, yes, there needs to be some kind of mediator, but someone who understands
Right.
what you, so not to, you know, say that you can't go to, you know, someone outside of our race, but someone who really has studied the psyche of the Black family as a whole.
Okay.
So I definitely say therapy, honestly, for sure.
And it's gonna take work.
Yeah.
You know,
Agreed.
Our mind is wired in a certain way, and it's not just a one-time thing. It's something that you have to continue to do for the rest of your life.
Agreed.
You know.
Kai Nicole.
Well, one of the biggest things that men can do, especially now, is listen. Very often when women are speaking about our experiences, men just tell us that, no, that's not how it is. And it's like, you as men have to make space for other voices. So far, women have not been in the dominant space. So as women are being more vocal about our treatment, about the things that we go through, the proper course of action is not to say, no, that's not how it is, and you need to be quiet and speak over us. It's to listen. And the other thing is to tell other men to listen. So, you know, it's not just listening, it's going, you know what, brother, I know you want to talk right now, but let's listen to this lady right here. She has something to say. I think we both can benefit. So there's the listening, and then there's also making space for new voices, because that's part of the problem, is that we're just now coming to the table. Women are, you know, we're speaking up now. We're gaining more power, but us gaining power is not taking power from men. It's just another person at the table. And so you all have to make space for us to be vocal about our experiences and not try to make us be quiet, because you'll never learn if you don't hear us.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get another damn bell because this bell ain't working for me. I done rang it off the hook today. Now listen, words of wisdom from everybody on the panel. Men, I need you to hear me just for a second. Listen, we have to understand that when a woman partners with us, she's not challenging us, she's bringing us balance. There are things that women can do that we wouldn't be able to survive doing. It just is what it is. So we have to recognize that there's a certain amount of balance that's in nature, that's in good business, that's in good relationships, that a woman will bring to us if we give her an environment that she can prosper in. I need you to understand, if nobody's else told you this, women are multipliers. So if you give her shit, All right, so let's keep on going. Now, I want to play this video because this video really kind of surmises or summarizes very eloquently why some women are angry. This is a poem called Angry Black Woman by Portia O. Let's check it out. Here we go. Real clip.
I'm pissed the fuck off. I'm mad as hell. I'm so mad. I'm getting ready to break my foot off in everybody's ass. But pretend this is class so I can tell you why I'm mad at the education system. Mad because education is the key, yet they keep the poor locked out. They get hand-me-down books and hand-me-down chairs. Hand-me-down teachers who give them hand-me-down scares. I'm pissed off at gentrification. Pissed that the rich be Robin Hoods and mad that Robin Hood was just a motherfucking myth. I'm mad because Orby is a standard of beauty. I hate that fruits and vegetables are so damn I move to another state, then the state of my superunion is at stake. So what good is that gonna do for me in the state of Wyoming? And believe it or not, I'm still pissed the fuck off about slavery. That's right, I'm still mad because I still pick cotton off clothes racks and never racked up reparations. Mad because niggers call each other niggas, and sick because any minute sister girl's gonna turn around and call me a bitch. I'm mad at black men for reasons I don't have time to list. I'm pissed off at hip-hop. I'm pissed off at black-on-black crime. I'm pissed off that Ricky Ross got all the crack that we can turn that shit back. I'm pissed the fuck off. I'm mad because above everything, at any given time and in any given space, I, as a black woman, can suffer from racism, sexism, homophobia, classism. I can be raped, beat, burned alive, and no one, not a single soul, look up to acknowledge my absence from this universe because I am insignificant, because I am a black woman, and finally you see I have every right to be pissed the fuck off. But most of the times, despite what you believe, I'm really, really sweet.
Boy, I tell you what. Boy, I tell you what. Boy, I tell you what. The way she put it, you can certainly understand why she would not be as happy as you would think she is. Now, I got some comments from Facebook. My good friend OD says, who's angry? We are holding it down and making it work. We are loving and nurturing. Being strong does not equate to angry. Well said. Well said. She says also that it's a stereotype. Latia says, you're stepping on me and I'm speaking up. That sums it up right there. Well said. Well said. Yvette says, exactly a stereotype. You need to be able to distinguish our assertiveness from anger. We need to be heard because they aren't listening, as Miss Callie stated. I don't know who Miss Callie is. Good deal. Good deal. Okay, so here's another question for you now. Kai Nicole, you brought up women rising in power, changes to the dynamics in this country. Let me ask you this. Do you believe that's something that is going to directly benefit black women in the same way it will white women? Because oftentimes when a movement happens, it seems like it happens a lot for other communities, and our communities kind of become a afterthought. What do you think?
Black women are one of the most educated populations in the country right now. Black women are making moves. I mean, regardless of what happens with white women, black women have always had their own movements because we've had to have our own movements. So if you think about like Ava DuVernay and Lena White and all of these people who are rising up, you know, Oprah, this movement is not going to slow down. Of course, there's going to be marginalization from, you know, because of racism. We're always going to have to deal with that.
Right.
But I think as the dynamics change, especially with so many women coming out about the sexual assaults, and, you know, as power is taking, you know, these men who have been in these powerful positions and have abused it for so long, as they are removed from power and more women start coming up, I think black women are going to be, you know, in some great positions in the future. Not to say that that's going to, like, overnight we're going to have everything, but we're moving at a good steady pace. And, you know, black women are smart. We move quietly, but we move where we need to be, and we do the things we need to do to get it done. So I think it's going to benefit us too.
Well said. Well said. Alicia, what do you think?
I too definitely think that it's going to benefit us, and it almost makes me think about the Jay-Z video. And what's his recent song that's out that he did a video for? Does anyone remember? Anyways,
Family Feud?
Yes, Family Feud.
Yeah,
and there was a
I
part,
didn't know.
Yeah, okay. There was a part in the video where it's all these women of color sitting at the table making the decisions. They were the leaders of that world. Now, it was futuristic, but it really made me think about where we're going today. You know, as she said, black women are educated. We're getting our education at the highest levels. We're becoming getting in powerful positions. And so we're really taking over. You know, it's some of the stereotypes that we have of being the mammy or being ghetto or being uneducated. We are proving that that is not true. And we're definitely doing that through education and bettering ourselves. So,
well said. Brother Michael. Do you think this movement is going to directly impact black women, or will it kind of leave black women behind like other movements have left the black community behind?
I think it's going to be contingent on them, to be honest. Because if the black woman is not going to be proactive in what's going on today, they're going to be left behind. Because if you look at who's coming out in most of these cases right now, they're not women of color. Most of the women that are coming out with
there
majority.
are a fair number of women of color who are coming out.
But the majority, I'm talking about the majority that I've seen so far have not been women of color. But who was to say if a woman of color was to come out, how would that be viewed, especially when it happened, based on your pecking order within society? What the young lady there said.
It did happen. Lupita came out about Harvey Weinstein.
Right. She did.
And it was analyzed to death. All the other white women.
It was over analyzed to death.
Yes.
Right.
So that's what I was saying.
But one black woman did come out, and of course, just like anytime a black woman speaks up, they're like, oh, well, did it really happen?
Right.
Are you sure?
Questions.
There was all this doubt because it was Lupita, but everybody else was accepted. So.
Absolutely.
So I think if our women grabbed on to this with two hands, and make sure that they have a seat at the table when the decision-making process is made, that's the only way they're going to be involved in it. And it's going to take some of the prominent people, the prominent women, especially prominent women of color, to come to the table to pave a way for those who may not have that power to get a say-so.
Well said. Well said. Tiara Nicole.
Yes, I think that it can be a benefit, and I think what it's really going to take, and what I'm seeing a lot more of, is us as black women uniting and not living up to that. We're always in competition and we're always catty towards each other, that we really, because as we always say, there's power in numbers, and I really believe that number is growing, of us who are supporting one another in all of these movements that we have going on, even down to the movement of us wearing our natural hair. You know what I'm saying? That we are supporting each other. Even if you are a woman who does not have natural hair, I see it so much, and the media has a lot to do with what people believe.
Yes.
Not necessarily what's really out there, but what people believe. So as long as we are making sure that we are changing that narrative of how black women relate to one another, absolutely, I absolutely see it growing and being beneficial for sure.
I was reading an article, and this article is from Ad Age. I thought it was Adage, but it's Ad Age. This article came out September 27th, 2017. It's from Anne Marie Kerwin. There's a part in the article that talks about the white paper, black stereotypes, and here's some of the stereotypes that are constantly portrayed on TV. Number one is the hood rat, usually loud and boisterous, depicted as crazy and irrational. She's consistently shown screaming, cursing in public, and instigating fights. The next one is the bitch, combination of hyper-independent woman and angry black woman, seen as an emasculating woman who speaks to or about people with little tact or regard for their feelings. Another one is the Jezebel, the promiscuous woman of the clan. Now, this is just 3. There are about 10 on this list. Just 3. So I just want to talk about the reality of these labels. Alicia, do you know a young lady in reality that you would say is a hood rat?
Most definitely. Let's look at Love and Hip Hop. Those are
no. That's reality TV. I mean, in real life.
In real life, do I know a hood rat?
Yes.
Oh no, I don't.
Okay.
That's a serious.
And I'm completely with you.
I don't know.
I'm completely
a hood
with
rat.
you.
No.
Okay. Tiara Nicole, do you know a hood rat?
Yeah.
You do?
Sure, a couple of them.
Couple of them. Okay. But there's more to. I know there's more to them than just being a hood rat. Oh my goodness.
Some of them, no.
All right. Kai Nicole,
Just be
Do I know any hood rats?
Yes.
Now, I mean, I'll just say not now, no. But I grew up in D.C. and I know everybody knows Sinead.
See, I grew up in Baltimore, so
Yeah, so Sinead was very stereotypical in terms of a DC type of hood rat, but we don't ever talk about Sinead owned her own business. You know what I mean? Sinead was defying her stereotypes at the same time. Like she was a stereotype, and she was hood, but she was educated. She was a business owner. She made her way into a women's business network. Like
she did.
It was, there was the stereotype, but then on the flip side, I think that's the reality of people who are considered hood rats. It's like they're multidimensional. So when you have this stereotype, you have to look at it and say, okay, just because a person sounds a certain way or comes from a certain neighborhood doesn't make them one-dimensional, make them smaller than you. It's like you have to look at the entire person. So yeah, I grew up in DC and there were a lot of Shanays, but they ended up being like business owners and exactly in the same character. So.
Well said, Brother Michael. I'm going to ask you, do you know any hood rats?
Right now, I would have to say at this point, no.
Okay.
Right now, no.
Okay.
Because I've only been back in America now for 6 months.
Okay.
So, but
Give it time.
But where I live now, which is Columbia, South Carolina, I haven't drove or have gone through some of the areas that we would say would have hood rat tendencies. So, but I would concur with her is that a lot of people would start off in a certain aspect, but then they end up manifesting to become a different person. That's based off of where you are in life or your current situation. So do I think a person that was a hood rat 20 years ago is probably still a hood rat today? Yes, a large percentage of them, but I'll also say a percentage of those individuals that were hood rats are no longer hood rats.
I guess it would depend on what you define as a hood rat too.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of women in the hood, but I wouldn't necessarily consider them rats. So I guess you would kind of have to tell me, what's your definition of
and I think
for a hood rat.
That was why my answer was what it was. Because just because you live in the hood or are from the hood does not mean that you are a hood rat. But I know some hood rats, and they live and die by the rat. Okay, just saying.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so here's something else I'm gonna put out here about this list. Now, the list also has something called the tragic mulatto. A usually light-skinned African-American woman depicted as one destined to have tragedies befall her. This sounds like the stereotypical drama queen. Another one says, the desperate single, combination of hyper-independent black woman, tragic mulatto, and Jezebel, often portrayed as unlovable, in need of a man. Thus, she settles for mediocre men to compensate for loneliness and for lack of confidence. These are the archetypes that are being put on television. Now, there was an article that said 91% of white people get their view of other ethnicities from TV.
Yes.
From TV.
Yeah.
And they basically marginalized us, our women that is, to these 10 buckets, if you will. And we are not a monolithic people. But we are so diverse, so dynamic that when you try to put us in this box, it's on purpose. Because when you put us in this box and it's all people want to see, they don't have to get out of their own box to learn more about us, which humanizes us. The more someone is human, the more difficult it is. I'm glad you didn't ring my damn bell. I'm putting my bell over here. The more you humanize someone, the more difficult it is to treat them with anything other than respect. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So now listen, I got another question for you ladies. I just want you to keep it real. How much of television and media, how important do you think it is that we have positive images and influences on TV? I'm going to start with you, Brother Michael. Of our women, we're specifically speaking about our women right now.
Positive images.
In media and on television.
Media and television.
Yes, sir.
There's one lady that, again, we watch television in a vacuum over in Korea. So our source of TV was AFN, and the only people that only shows I could really see were like the popular shows. But we end up being able to stream video, stream TV through Hulu and stuff and things of that nature. But the lady is an attorney. That's, I want to say, in the D.C., Virginia area, and I've seen on CNN several times, and this lady, would just eradicate people on the microphone like it was. I mean, she did it so well, and it came across not in a way of she was an angry black woman, but it came across as like, you messed with the wrong sister. I can't think of her name.
Angela Ray.
Thank you. That's
Angela
it.
Rye?
Yes. Thank you for the help. Thank you for the help. And that will be the first woman that I can go to immediately that I've seen. Nothing against the queens that's sitting in here or my wife that's watching right now. Okay. Maybe you are my positive woman. So that's not what I'm trying to say. But that is the woman. As soon as you asked me the question, she came to mind.
Okay.
For me.
Fair enough. Alicia.
The issue is people need to get off of the TV and make it their goal to actually meet people in real life that are outside of their social comfort. That's the issue. Yes, they do need to put more positive displays of black women on TV. That's obvious. You just said that most people that get their beliefs and ideals of African American people, it comes from TV.
Sure.
So there definitely needs to be a change, but I think that people need to get off the social media, get off of the TV, and actually start interacting with people who are different from them. That's how you can get a true definition of who a person is. You can't base a whole race off of something you see on TV. So while I do feel like the media is the problem, people need to start taking personal responsibility of doing better and not just relying on TV and shows to show them who a person is or a type of group of people who they are.
Fair enough. Tiara Nicole.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, with that comment, to get off of social media and TV and things like that. However, I also do believe that it is a choice. We live in a day and age where there's an abundance of different types of shows and media and outlets. If we are only looking at reality TV, then of course you are only going to, that's just like if I only look at HGTV, then I think that everybody in the world can afford to renovate their house for $50,000. Do you know what I'm saying? But so what I expose myself to when I do see black people or black women, they are well represented. I do not watch the Love and Hip Hops and shows like that. I don't watch them. So when I look at commercials or TV shows, I'm talking about on OWN, on HBO, on Netflix. And there are tons of TV shows, TV programs, and movies that shine us in a very positive light. So I would say it really just depends on what you choose. If you want to see black people or black women in a negative light, then yes, you are going to flock to those, and then you're going to make your conclusion based off of that one little choice. But if you allow yourself to open up and see what else is out there, you are absolutely going to see us in a different light.
Well said. Well said. Kai Nicole, your thoughts?
Because we know that people get their ideas about other cultures from television, that we can, see the importance of having diverse content creators. It's really important that these shows are being written by people of color, written by black people, because part of the reason why we have these perpetual stereotypes in television is that the writers are not black. The writers don't know anything about us. They're just writing from what they learned, and they just keep writing it over and over and over. So we need more producers who are black, more directors who are black, more writers who are black. This is why it's so important, why inclusion and diversity, and especially in entertainment, is so important. Netflix has so many different shows and shows so many different kinds of Black people because they are buying from Black content creators. Yep. And so that's why it's so important for us to be in those spaces because, you know, I know it's better for a white family who's never met a Black family to not learn about Black people on television, but to meet them in person. But the reality is they're not going to. Right. But if they turn on the television and the major network has hired several Black writers to write a Black show, they might just learn something new. Exactly. So it's really important for us to be in those spaces.
Right.
Okay. So, now, 1 second for me, Alicia. Okay. Brother Michael.
What I was going to say, one of the things that I found disturbing, and this is about what's portrayed on TV about us. Mm-hmm. Living in Korea, I had to break down so many racial and stereotypes and barriers that was put up based off of what they view about us on television. And when she said that the content that that's been presented about us mm-hmm. has a direct reflection on how people view us, that is correct. Mm-hmm. Because they wouldn't, when I started my company, they wouldn't take me serious. I would go into their stores trying to establish contracts, but they were still playing their video games as if I was just a person coming in trying to buy a pair of shoes or to buy a suit. Not all of them, but the majority of people that I had to to interact with, I had to break down barriers for them to take me as an honest business person.
Alicia.
To the young lady's point about better Black shows, I do wonder how likely it would be for someone outside of our race to actually watch the show. Mm-hmm. So
they watch us.
Yeah. You think so?
They watch us. They love us. We're the.
Thank you.
I mean, just look at Black Panther. They absolutely love watching Black people. We are the biggest sellers. Our movies, they undervalue our movies, and we overperform over and over and over again. We are not the ones bringing in the revenue. They watch everything we do. That's why they copy. We create culture. Black people create American culture.
Yes,
they're watching us. It's just that we need to be in those positions to create the content that they see. And that's where, the stereotypes, that's where we battle those stereotypes. When we get in those positions of power where we present the images of us to them, that's when they'll see them.
Okay.
But yeah, they're watching everything we
especially
do.
when
number one Real Housewives franchise is Atlanta. It's the number one franchise.
Okay, now
and that's not because Black people are watching.
I want to talk about that. There are a lot of shows, reality shows, that have Black producers, Black writers, Black everything. That are some of these top reality shows. These are shows. I remember when they came out with Sorority Sisters. It was a Black woman's idea to put it on and basically, I won't say slander, but to show the more salacious side of a few women in some of the most prominent organizations in our community. It wasn't the white man that did that. Right. So here's my question now. When we are in position, how much responsibility do we bear for the way that we are being portrayed on screen? Because we watch it. We watch the ratchetness now. My daughter's one of the most intelligent young ladies out there. Sometimes I have to say, why in the hell are you watching Jerry Springer? Dad, it's just empty calories, if you will. But she'll sit right there and watch that stuff. So now I'm asking, I'll start with you, Kind of Cold. There are opportunities where we are in the director's chair, where we're still putting things out to the detriment of our communities. What's driving that?
Haven't we always, had a group that wanted to make money instead of better benefiting the community? Right. I mean, the truth of the matter is it sells. These shows, people watch them, and people are fascinated by drama and nonsense. I mean, I've never seen an episode of Love and Hip Hop. I don't even know anything about the show, but I know that people love the show. And so, because it's selling, if you have the opportunity to produce a show and make money, and they say, oh, this over here with the stereotypes will make you $1 million, and this over here with the positive reinforcement is not going to make you any money, but you did something for the community, a lot of people are going to take the check. It just comes down to money.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Tiara Nicole.
Yeah, I am going to be very transparent real quick with you guys.
All right. All right.
I used to be an exotic dancer, and I remember when I was trying to get out, and I but I was trying to stop. And I was approached by, and I'm not going to, say who, but I was approached by a magazine editor who wanted to manage me. And this person, was like, you have everything, we're going to show like what a day in the life of you as a dancer. And I was like, no, I want to show how I've triumphant, how I've, grown, and now I'm trying to do my own thing. I found myself. I love myself. And she was like, well, maybe we could do that. But don't you want to be famous? And so to piggyback off of you, yes, it is about the money. And a lot of them care about what sells, but then it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did people watch it and then they're like, oh, it sells, or did they deliver it and then it sold? So it's kind of that thing that, how do you stop it? Do you talk to the producers? Because as we've said, there are shows out there, that are doing well, that are portraying us in a beautiful way, but they are no matter how successful they are being trumped by the ratchet, because
it sells. Alicia.
For every black reality ratchet TV show, there are white reality TV shows that do the same exact foolishness. The difference is black women are held to a different standard. So we can't act foolish like white women would or do on those shows, and it just be like, oh, that's just the drama in the show. They don't view us outside of what is seen on TV, So I definitely think that the reality TV shows that reflect the black woman is no different than the rest of the TV that we see. We're just held to a different standard.
Different standard. Okay.
Absolutely.
Brother Michael.
Well, I think everything's been said on that particular subject, to be honest with you. It's just all about dollars and cents.
Okay.
Whatever sells, whatever's going to put, zeros behind our bank accounts is what people are going to gravitate toward. Not product, but product.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, now listen, we're going to switch it up just a little bit here. What we like to do on this show, we like to bring really important topics. We like to discuss them, and we like to keep everything positive. Now, Brother Michael.
Yes.
You and what you do basically focuses on style. What was this? Give me your slogan. The difference between fashion and style, or something like that.
There's a difference between fashion and style, and my tagline is the rebirth of the gentleman.
Okay. Let's just talk about this just for a second now. When it comes to providing a new venue or a rebirth of the gentleman, how do you help us do that?
Well, one of the things that I try to tell my gentlemen is to understand that when you're looking at your clothes, you should be looking for a return on your investment. A lot of times we go out and we buy the hottest, flashiest thing out there this week, and next week, guess what? It's devalued. It has no value to it. So the thousands of dollars you spent on that Gucci, Prada, whatever designer that you have on today, can you wear it next week? Can you wear it next year? So what I try to tell people is you stay within style. Stay within the style. Add accessories to bring in the flair, that gives you that little flash or a little pizzazz. But if you stay within the basics of a stylish suit, which is a 2-button, 1-button, 2-button, 3-button suit, and you add the extra stuff with it, it'll go a lot farther 5 or 10 years from then you spending, $5,000 on the hottest thing that's out today.
Spending $5,000 on what?
Yes.
I can't even see it. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I just can't even see it. I don't care how much money I have. I can't see $5,000 on an article of clothing. Just not gonna happen. Sorry.
It happens.
I believe it.
Yes.
Just to let y'all know, now I'm not a cheap brother. I like to get my money's worth. I've had this sweater right here for like 6 years. Damn it, I'm gonna keep it until the threads come out this mofo. How about that?
Wear it until you can't wear it.
There you go. Okay, so ladies, let me ask you this, and this is about men and the way that we are presenting ourselves right now. What do you think is really missing from the man right now as far as fashion, as far as the way we're presenting ourselves? I want to start with you, Kai Nicole, and then we'll work our way around. What's missing from the man as far as the way we're presenting ourselves?
In terms of just clothing?
Just clothing. Personal appearance. Let's branch it out to personal appearance.
I'll be honest. I think that things have gotten a lot more relaxed. And I think that polished kind of look that men, many years ago, like when they would go out, they would dress to go out. I think that polished look is not in anymore. I think, it's very relaxed. It's jeans and, t-shirt and you can have a nice pair of jeans and a nice pair of t-shirt. I'm not saying, or a nice t-shirt. I'm not saying that you can't look nice like that, but I think that polished, like I put on a suit because I wanted to look really good tonight, and not a business meeting because I want to go out and meet women. That's kind of gone. You don't see that often. Like when you do see it, he stands out. Like he really stands out. And you're like, okay, he got dressed, but I don't think that you get that polished kind of man in a casual scene anymore. Okay. Everybody's just so.
Good deal. Tiara Nicole. Not that you looking since you off the market, but tell us what men are missing now as far as our sense of style, overall appearance.
Honestly, and again, it's really what you are exposed to, because I know at least here in Atlanta, I am seeing more men taking care of their appearance more, especially with that whole beard movement. I'm seeing more men paying for hair care products than I do, so I think I will say that I'm seeing more men step up and take pride and present themselves. Now they may not have anything else to offer, so maybe that's why they got all that energy to spend. I'm gonna make this package look good, but when she opened this box, I don't know. But if we are just speaking on the presentation, just from what I see, both before I was affianced and even now, as just I go around, even men in the gym, I'll be like, honey, where are you going? We are working out. Like, I'll be having on a tattered shirt and they be having matching shirt, shorts, and shoes. Like, okay, so just from my experience, I think they've kind of stepped it up.
And I'll say in my defense, I live in California and not Atlanta, and people dress in Atlanta. Atlanta, D.C., people dress up.
Okay.
But everywhere else in the country, it's a lot more relaxed.
Because everybody in Atlanta is in a movie, honey. Everybody in Atlanta is preparing to be in a movie.
Step it up when I come to Atlanta.
Fair enough.
I'm like, oh, wait, I'm coming to Atlanta.
Fair enough. Alicia.
I will say, our gay population is a little bit higher than other places.
Okay.
Oh, but that's the hey. We're not here to disparage, of course. So we just say it.
All my gay friends are always put together to the T. They could be going to Walmart or to the gas station, and they're gonna be from the hat to the shoes, Yeah. But no, seriously. To the first young lady's point, I do feel like the polished look has changed, but I feel like women.
Say it. Go say it.
I feel like that's based upon what women like, and except from men.
Okay.
I almost feel like a lot of times women dress for each other and men dress for women.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, girl. So, we was just talking about that. Yes.
So I feel like if women change what they like, because I'm not going to say change their standards, because that's what you like, that's what you like. But I feel like if the requirements of women change from what they were willing to accept from a man's style or how he dresses, I feel like men will have no choice but to change their style, change their look.
Now, Michael, you and I were talking about that the other night when we had our conversation.
Yes, you were.
So part of it, and this is why I brought this part into the segment, it's to say, ladies, there's a lot of influence that you still have over us. And I just need you never to forget that most of the actions that we make, not all of them, but most of them, are for you.
Yes.
We want to be gainfully employed, of course, first of all, so we can take care of ourselves, but also so that if we approach you, we at least can take you on a decent date. We want a car or a really good public transportation system so that if we are going somewhere, we know we won't be stuck. We can get there, and if you're going to ride with us on MARTA, well, we're going to feel much better when we're in that Mazda or whatever car we get. The bottom line of it, ladies, is I don't want you to forget that a lot of things you do greatly influence us. Alicia.
I can't tell you how crazy my female friends would go over a pair of gray sweatpants. That is the thing.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
Nobody is like, let me see those dress pants.
Wait a minute.
Let me see those fitted jeans.
Now,
let me see them gray sweatpants.
Kai Nicole, you shaking your head. No. You disagree with that one, Kai?
No, I'm shaking my head because I have a girlfriend who literally texts me about gray sweatpants at least once every other week.
Hilarious.
Just like and when I get the text, this is my face. I'm on my phone like.
See, maybe I'm different because I don't know. I'm a little weird when it comes to me. I don't want you to tell me all your business up the front. Like,
hilarious.
Leave some mystery. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little.
It's like,
sir,
like lingerie. Like I seen this video where this guy, she had a friend coming over, right, and her boyfriend had on some gray sweatpants, and she said, "You walking around like that? You need to go change right now. That is unacceptable. Got your stuff all out. Got on your male lingerie."
So gray sweatpants are the equivalent of male lingerie now.
Yeah.
Boy, the things you learn on this show.
Exactly.
This show is all about educating and the edification of our people. Never forget that. Now listen. Now I was in the mall one day, and I was on my break at lunch, and I'm sitting down, and these two young men who were sagging in 2017 walked up and said, "Man, that's a nice suit." I said, "Thank you, young man." Men, I want you to understand something. There has to be a clear line of demarcation between young men and grown men.
Thank you.
That's part of the reason why I wanted to have Brother Michael on the show. Somewhere along the way, the grown men started trying to dress like the young men, and the young men no longer had aspirational goals. Because they were seeing reflections of themselves, and they were thinking, hey, I'm grown enough wearing what I got on. Too many young men don't even own a suit.
Yes.
Too many young men don't know how to wear a suit, don't know how to tie a tie, much less a bow tie. And that is a failure on the black men. You don't have to be in the home to be a positive influence. You can be a positive influence on some young man who just happens to see the way you walk into a room, the way you command the presence of the room with your black male masculinity. So, fellas, this is something that we can do right here. We can just step our game up in our presentation and make a movement on the young men, because right now they're looking at reflection of themselves in us, and that's just not going to cut it. All right, let's get back to the angry black woman. That was just a little, break in it right there, because we got other things we're going to talk about. So here we go. Now, when we're talking about these stereotypes, I want to attempt to play another video. Here's the thing. When we do Skype, and this is to all the listeners and the viewers, when we do Skype, it splits our sound. So we're going to turn the volume up as high as we can get it. But if this video just doesn't go very well, accept my apologies in advance. But this video I thought was really, 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 and I mean really important. This one is a black woman's response to stupid questions. Now, I'll set it up. There's this young lady who's being interviewed by a French reporter. And the French reporter asks her some of the most asinine, some of the most stupid questions ever. And this poised woman gives some of the best responses. And when she responds, it reminds me of Claire Huxtable. When I say Claire Huxtable, y'all got to know I was going to marry Claire Huxtable. Because that woman, if she ever got mad, she was still composed about it. She might check you, but she never lost her sense of composure. And that's what happened with this ad right here, or this movie right here, or this clip. So we're going to pull it up just in a moment. This one's called BW Response to Stupid Questions, Black Woman Response to Stupid Questions. I got another question for you, Alicia. Now, Alicia, not putting your age out there.
Okay.
I think I'm a little bit older than you.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Okay, so from your perspective, how do you feel that your up-and-coming generation responds to this black woman or angry black woman myth?
I think that we're now seeing that it's a problem, and we're speaking out about it. And women like us on the show today are making sure for the reasons of that anger and where it comes from, and explaining that, and also proving that we're multidimensional. Okay, sometimes we are angry, but there are a host of things about a black woman that should also be celebrated and uplifted, and we should not just concentrate like we're one-dimensional, like all we can give is anger, just like some of the images that you talked about that's on TV. So I feel like the generation is starting to break those barriers, give reasons, just like the young lady who did that poem, and really we're expressing ourselves as to where this anger comes from and why.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Tiara Nicole, I'm still a little bit older than you, but I think you're just a little bit older than Alicia.
Proud of my age. I'll be 36, okay?
Go on with your bad self.
36,
Go on with your bad
auntie.
self. Okay, so when it comes to a woman in your age bracket, how do you address this whole myth of the angry black woman?
Hey, one thing about me, I am always going to be true to who I am. And I understand that not everybody is going to like it, and they're not supposed to. And I always just make sure that women understand, especially women of color, that you just have to stand firm in who you are and how you feel, and understand, again, that it's going to make some people very uncomfortable. So I feel like, that 30, 40-year-old woman is now starting to say, F this. I'm tired of you putting me in this box. And as she mentioned before, stepping on me, but then getting appalled when I have a say about it. And I think that the women in my bracket are getting tired of it. You know what I'm saying? Our predecessors, they're getting old, they're getting a little aged, so they don't have that much fight in them left. But we are the ones, I feel, who are paving this different way for the 20s, the teens, who are now coming in and saying, whoa, okay, this black woman thing is something different now. It's not necessarily what my mom told me it was going to be, or my grandmom. It's something different. So I think that the 30 and 40-year-olds are absolutely changing that path for the younger ones.
Wonderful,
for sure.
Wonderful. All right, Kai Nicole, you still with us?
I would have to say, for me, I've always been vocal. So I've been hit with you're just angry for a long time. And I'm 41 now. So I've been doing this a long time. And I come from a line of very vocal women. So it wasn't anything new in my family. If somebody was bothering us, we let them know. It's very Claire Huxtable type of responses. But I've been doing this pretty much my whole life. And I realized that a lot of times, like I said before, people are taken aback when you speak up for yourself. And so I always know that when they're like, oh, you're so angry, it's like, no, let me be clear. I'm not angry, but what you've done is not okay. And I wanted you to know that. And a lot of times they just don't know what to do with that information. They don't know how to react to that information. And it's not just in racist situations. It's even in when men are talking to you and you don't respond in the way they want you to respond. If they like you and you don't like them and you're just very indifferent, indifference is also interpreted as anger. It's like you have this, just because you're not behaving in the way that I think you should, now I'm upset with you because you responded and I don't like your response. Well, I've always been that way. So I'm used to this space and I'm comfortable in it. And I've always been comfortable in it, which, a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to deal with somebody who's really been comfortable being in the space where you might think I'm angry. I'm not, but you're just going to have to deal with it either way. Whatever you say, what comes out of my mouth is what you're going to have to deal with. So deal with it.
Good deal. Absolutely. Good deal. Okay, so we want to play this clip. Now, the reporter is speaking in French, so there's subtitles underneath that. Just watch how composed the young lady is in response. So here we go. Let's roll the clip.
I think it reflects very poorly on French people that you have to ask me that question.
I really do.
We do, shockingly.
Pardon, mais en France, on parle très peu, sûrement pas assez, d'un pays comme le Nigeria. Quand on parle du Nigeria, on parle de Boko Haram. Quand on parle du Nigeria, on parle de problèmes de violence, de problèmes de sécurité. Je voudrais profiter de votre présence pour que vous nous parliez du Nigeria, peut-être autrement, dans la façon dont on ne le connaît pas. D'où cette question. Est-ce qu'il y a des librairies dans votre pays? Bien entendu, je suppose que oui.
I think surely, I mean, it's 2018. You know, I mean, come on.
All right. Did you see how cool, calm, and collected she was in her response? I was just like, man, now that's how you handle it.
Didn't seem angry to me.
Now, I want to make note that she also said that the journalist and her publication should not be attacked. She kept her composure and said they should not be attacked for, feigning ignorance. Basically, she was saying that they were acting like they didn't know that there were bookstores in Nigeria. Come on, it's 2018. So, Kai Nicole, what do you think about that response to that journalist?
So I like her name is Chimamanda. I can't pronounce
I think it's Chimamanda.
Chimamanda. I like her. I've seen several of her speeches. She's always like that. She's always very composed. And one of my favorite speeches that she gave was about women always feeling like other people need to like them. She's very comfortable in saying that you don't have to like me. And that's what comes across whenever she responds to the ignorance that she has to deal with, is that she takes care of it in a very diplomatic way, but she just really doesn't care how they take it. And I think when you have that attitude, is that you really don't care how, you're going to take what I'm about to say to you, you can be that calm, that cool, that collected, because you're not taking the ignorance personally, because it's not a reflection. Like she said, it reflects poorly on French people, right. But it didn't reflect on Nigerians at all.
Absolutely not.
That is important, that when we're dealing with people, the way that she dealt with her is that when people say negative things to you or about you, you have to always remember that it's more about them than you. And so when you respond, you don't have, the response doesn't need to coddle them or make them like you. You just deal with it straight out. Like she said, it's really more about, you guys have a poor perception of Nigeria, and that says more about your culture than mine.
Right.
Well said. Well said. Tia Nicole, what do you think?
Absolutely. I swear, you are in my brain tonight, girl. There is this book called The Four Agreements, and one of the agreements is don't take anything personal, because we have to realize that everyone is looking at life through their lens. So imagine if you are in a movie theater, and this was what the author had painted the picture, and I'm going to say this really quickly. Imagine you're in a movie theater, and you're sitting in that theater and you're looking at your life through your perspective. But let's say you go out of that theater and you go into the next theater and it's your mom sitting there and she's looking at your life but from her perspective. So if you understand that everyone is self-centered, that is what it is. We are centered in self because we have no choice, because we are looking at life from our understanding, our perspective, our viewpoint. How can you possibly take anything that anybody says to you, towards you, about you personal, because it doesn't have anything to do with you, whether those things are factual or not? It has everything to do with who they are, because it's how they see you. That ain't got nothing to do with me. So as they say, your opinion of me is none of my business.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Alicia.
I understand that. It still irritates me, though, because those thoughts and ideas that they have, those perceptions, they share with other people.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's what irritates me. I deal with a lot of Caucasian people due to my work in advocacy. And I have countless doctors and researchers who have approached me and said, "You are so articulate."
Wow.
And in my mind, I'm just like, okay, how else would you expect me to sound? You don't say this to my white colleagues or white advocates. So I know it's personal. So whether or not it's their perception, maybe they haven't really dealt with a lot of black people or whatever, I still feel like they can do better. Just like in that interview, being a person with a media background, you should know better.
Absolutely.
You need to research stuff if you don't know. It's some questions that you should not ask. You just should know it by researching that person. She has a book. Okay, let me see how the sales are doing. Are they online sales or bookstore sales? I mean, that's just silly.
And in her response, she did say that she doesn't have time for those types of questions because they're actually they're beneath 2018.
Exactly.
Brother Michael.
Okay, I'm hitting on a couple things here that that kind of jumped out at me during this conversation. Number one, everything that happens does not always have a direct reflection on you.
Right.
That is true.
It's kind of hard for us to bear that at some time because we all get caught up in our own feelings. And it's so one of the things we have to be cognizant of is our feelings. Our feelings sometimes get in the way, and it blocks communication. So you have a sender receiver. So the sender sends a message, and you're the receiver.
Right.
If we let our feelings get between the sender and the receiver, you're not going to receive the information.
The message.
So now the second thing that I want to say is I have always lived outside of the norm.
Okay.
Growing up, I was called White Boy Mike. I was teased that I would go to school, whether military school or even in regular school, and everybody would assume I was married to a white woman, or an Asian woman. I'm married to a sister from Alabama. Doesn't just because the way that I speak, that has nothing to do with who I gravitate toward, but has more to say about how you view me as a person. It doesn't have a direct reflection on me, but it does hurt. That I have to constantly defend myself all the time. And that's the part that I have to battle with, because there's not a lot of men out here that I'm aware of that do what I do. There's not a lot of black men out here that have design clothes, owns their own clothing company. There's not a lot of black men out here that self-published 3 books. There's not a lot of black men that has their own magazine. So I'm constantly faced with the reality every day when I'm trying to go to people that are following me throughout social media, asking them, say, hey, can you buy a magazine subscription? Hey, can you purchase a book? You're having a wedding soon. Would you like me to do your suits or your tuxedos for your wedding party? That's where my feelings come into it. So Monday through Friday, 9 out of 10, I'm just dealing with, I'm reacting to what people are giving me. So all of what she said to that lady, I feel that a lot. About how people have subliminally undermine what it is that I stand for and what that I do, and assume because I don't do something the way they thought I should do it, makes me a different person.
Alicia.
I feel like even with this conversation, like we have to discuss whether or not what she did was appropriate or how did she handle herself, right? I worked at a finance firm years ago, and I was like the only black woman there.
Okay.
And finance is a lot of white men.
Sure.
And I remember being in the break room, and one of my white coworkers came up to me, and he said, I like my women like I like my coffee, black and bitter. So I I reflect on that.
Woosah.
And what went through my mind is like, okay, do I get angry? Because that's already the stereotype that's put on me, you know? Or do I play it cool? White women aren't dealing with that. They're not being challenged in that way.
Okay.
I had to make the decision, do I get an attitude? Do I let it go? How do I handle this? You know, and I feel like that's just, Black women are always under that pressure where it's looked at how we respond. And when we do respond, it's scrutinized, whether it's appropriately or what you deem as inappropriately. So
That goes to one of my Kai, go ahead.
I said I agree with that 100%. No matter what we do, we're going to be scrutinized for every little move we make, every reaction, every little thing we say. We're going to be scrutinized more than anyone. And I don't know how you handle it, but I have to say, I'm sorry that happened to you because that would have been a whole moment. I would have had a whole moment. I was like, okay, all right.
Look,
am I going to be black today?
Namaste. Okay, now listen. That whole scenario reminds me of a movie that I saw, a Bill Duke movie. It had Lawrence Fishburne in it called Deep Cover. And they were interviewing potential black candidates to go undercover. And what this white officer said was, this is the question, the qualifying question. And I'm breaking the rules on my own show because I never use the N-word on my show, but I want to illustrate the point. He said, what's the difference between a black man and a nigger? That was the question that was asked. And Lawrence Fishburne's character said, a nigger would dignify that question. Or a nigger is the one that would answer that question. And he got the job because that term was something that he simply transcended. So in that instance, you got to tell us how you responded, first of all. But it's something that you have to transcend. Sometimes it gets to that point and you have to transcend. But your response was?
You know what? This was probably about 4 years ago. I didn't know what to say. I was so in shock that he said it, and it was just like processing in my mind that this man said this to me, and do I act a fool? I'm the only black woman in here. So I didn't even say nothing. But now looking back at 30, the response definitely would have been different, but I'm in a different place emotionally, spiritually, even with my self-esteem. So the response would have been different. I was so unsure. That really was a battle for me. I would never forget that. That's the honest truth.
Wow.
Traumatic emotional event.
Okay. All right. So we've talked about a whole lot of things leading up to this point. Now, this is this segment that we're about to get into is something that I get a whole lot of comments on. Now, people say some of the craziest things. I mean, we just heard an instance where somebody said something that was crazy. People oftentimes put their foot in their mouths with some of the words that they say. Sometimes people just don't know when to be quiet, and you got to look at them and tell them to sit your ass down. I mean, you just need to sit your ass down. You're running around at the mouth. You're just running your mouth too much, and I need you to sit your ass down. Now, in this segment, what I like to do is play different videos of people who really need to sit their asses down and some of the foolishness that comes out of their mouth. We got two candidates this week. Now, the first candidate, this gentleman, his name is Stephen Moore, and he was defending President Trump and how President Trump's numbers have gone up when it comes to polling in the black community. Now, Angela Rye, first of all, Angela Rye and me, we go together. She just don't know it yet. You know, there's no restraint. Yeah, there's no restraining order yet. You know, I hadn't really revealed. But Angela Rye, oh my goodness, any time, Angela, I got you. Just holler at your boy. But we're gonna play this segment, and then we'll discuss him. Then we'll play the second contender for the Sit Your Ass Down award for the day. Clip 1. Here we go.
And Brooke, if this man is a racist, why is it that his approval rating among blacks has increased while he's been president? It's because of his record, not what he says.
Stephen, I have approval ratings. Our latest CNN poll, this is from December, showing approval of Trump among black Americans at 3%.
Well, you're looking at a different poll than I am.
I'm so glad that Stephen wants to talk about Donald Trump's record. So let's talk about how he said that he preferred a man with yarmulkes to count his money over a man who's black because that they're lazy. He has a lazy gene. Let's talk about Donald Trump's record, where he accused the Central Park Five, as Brooke just brought up, of raping a woman that it had been disproven, and he took out not one, not two, but three full-page ads calling for the death penalty of 5 young black and brown boys. Let's talk about Donald Trump's record, where he has historically used not only racist language, but he has also done very bigoted things. It didn't take the presidency for us to see that Donald Trump is a racist. We know that Donald Trump's daddy was a racist. We know that he was at a KKK rally, according to the press. If you want to talk about Donald Trump's civil rights record, let's talk about how he talked about HBCUs are unconstitutional. If you want to talk about Donald Trump's record on civil rights, let's talk about how he's made it harder to vote, and he's called for voter ID and voter suppression measures on Twitter. This is someone who is not standing up for voting rights, for civil rights, to make things fair and with parity in this country. You want to talk about civil rights, let's talk about what he tried to do with transgender military folks. This is not someone who's a champion of civil rights. This is a day after Dr. King's Day, and I'm definitely not going to start lying on Donald Trump's behalf today because it makes him feel better. He's still a racist today.
All right.
Just like that.
Goodness. Oh my! Did you see my girlfriend and how well she represents you, boy? Boy, my girlfriend, boy. That's my girlfriend right there. That's my girlfriend. Okay, now, contestant number 2 for the Sit Your Ass Down Award this week, Pastor Mark Burns. Now, this is an interview that Pastor Mark Burns did, and when he did this interview, he brought up some really interesting points. Now, this is on Comedy Central's The Daily Show, and the host actually brought up some excellent counterpoints. So we're going to take a look at our next candidate for the Sit Your Ass Down Award. This is going to be Pastor Mark Burns from The Daily Show. We ready with that clip?
Isn't he a perp?
Okay. Well, now, here's the thing now. Now, I knew you would find that really questionable. Now, I'll give you a little bit background on Pastor Mark Burns. He actually had on his website that he was a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated.
Nope.
And when they did some research on him, he had to go and take it down. And he said, okay, I never said that I was a member. This is what he said. Now, I never said I was a member. I said that I pledged or some foolishness he said.
It's called backsliding.
Yeah, they also questioned his education, his degrees. And he said, hey, I never said I had the degree. I said I went to school there. And they got the transcripts. He went to school there for like a year or something like that. The bottom line of it is, our candidate number 2 is Pastor Mark Burns. Again, this is from The Daily Show, and we're going to roll this one clip. Sit Your Ass Down, candidate number 2. Roll clip. Right, so the quality on that one is bad, but I'll give you a synopsis, and we'll play this before the show's out. What Brother Burns says is that Donald Trump believes that marriage is between one man and one woman. Now, Donald Trump has been married several times, and the host actually brings that up. Pastor Burns also compares Hillary Clinton, her relationship with her husband, Bill Clinton, and Donald Trump. And he disparages Hillary Clinton for basically standing by while her husband had these affairs. So the host said, wait a minute, are you saying that Bill Clinton cheating is Hillary Clinton's fault? And he said, well, no, that's not what I'm saying. He said, good, because Donald Trump has had affairs. So everything that Pastor Burns said was debunked, rebutted, just basically cast aside by the person who was hosting the show on The Daily Show. So for that, this week's winner of the Sit Your Ass Down award goes to Pastor Burns, because Pastor Burns, not only did you misrepresent yourself on your own website, not only did you misrepresent your affiliations and your education, not only did you speak ill of a woman who was cheated on by her husband and misrepresented the beliefs of a man who's been married more than one time, you, sir, need to go somewhere and sit your ass down. All right.
Sit down. Sit down.
Sister Kai Nicole, what do you think, Pastor Mark Burns?
Like I heard about the controversy on his website, and there's so many people. I honestly think the Trump administration looks for black people who just want to just have some spotlight and are just completely illegitimate in every way. Education, the fact his church, I think they found out his church was in a garage or something crazy.
In a small studio.
Yeah, like it's like I can't even. It's like, dude, I'm not even gonna pay you any mind. So he definitely needs to sit down. Like, just go away. Like, I wish these people who are willing to sell out our whole, race for a few dollars to be up under Trump for a little while. I wish they would just all crawl in a hole or go somewhere, because nobody's paying. We're not paying them any mind. It's just we have to look at them because they're getting the spotlight. Like, just go away. Like, he's got to go away some point. He has to.
All right, Tiara Nicole, what do you think?
Yeah, I guess we have to talk about this because this is the topic. That whole Uncle Tom, terminology is still that, hey massa, look at me, accept me, I'm still looking to prove my worthiness to massa. So if I just get along, daddy, hopefully massa will put me under his wing and feed me and give me some warm clothes. So unfortunately, still in 2018, we still have plenty of them, as we see, and I don't see him any different than those other. What are those two ladies that I don't know whoever they are, and they got a whole Facebook show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they doing big things for massa, and given the opportunity, you better believe that massa will kick them overboard if need be. But
well said. Alicia.
Ask Omarosa.
Yes, ask Omarosa. Yes.
Hey, Omarosa, how you doing, girl?
These people really pain me, and my word for tonight is irritate. They irritate me. It just, I don't understand it. Like, I don't have an issue if you're a black Republican. Okay, that's on you.
Right.
It's just how the delivery. It's just the inaccuracies that they put out there. Is a lot of what you two have said. I totally agree 100%. I just wish he would sit down and never get up again. How about that?
All right. Brother Michael.
Okay, for the record, I am a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. And what this person tried to do, I've lost total credibility for him. Number one, you came in, you perpetrated my fraternity. Number two, you walked around with some phony certificate saying you a pastor from somewhere else. Number three, you saying you gone to a university, and you gave four you running around, polishing Donald Trump's shoes, so on and so forth. I don't have a personal opinion about this person. He just needs to disappear. And from my perspective. Right. And I don't wish any hard feelings. I don't want anything bad to happen to him.
Sure.
So please don't send my words out there as some type of malice intent for this gentleman. But to me, if I saw him walking on the street, I would probably just drive past.
All right. So we're at the end of the show now. So I want to get final thoughts. I want if you choose to, tell people how they can get in contact with you. Let us know what's going on with you. We'll start with you, Kai Nicole. What's coming up? What you got going on?
Well, I have my website, datelikeawoman.com, and then I also have my book for the single ladies who want to learn how to date better. You can get my book on Amazon, you get it on my website, you get it in Barnes & Noble. but it's Date Like a Woman. So anything about Date Like a Woman, you can find me. So datelikeawoman.com, Date Like a Woman book on Facebook, Date Like a Woman Twitter, Date Like a Woman Instagram. You'll find me. And check out my blog. I blog pretty frequently now. So if you have a dating question, I have an Ask Kai page on my website. So send me your dating questions and I will answer you in a blog. So go to datelikeawoman.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show. You know, we always enjoy having you on. We're looking forward to the next time you're in studio.
Yeah, I'll be out there soon. I'll be out there soon. I have to make sure I stay over on a Saturday so I can come see you.
Perfect. Good deal. All right, Tiara Nicole.
Yeah, I am currently a YouTube creator, content creator. So my channel is all about women empowerment, teaching them, showing them how to look good, how to feel good, but most of all, how to be good. I do different varieties of videos. Like on Tuesdays, I do Transformation Tuesdays. So I talk a lot about health and wellness. I even talk about my weight loss journey. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism, and I used to be a personal trainer, and I had gained like 30 pounds. So I talk about that a lot, and I share a lot of insight on, you know, how us as women, you know, can better our health, fitness, and things like that. On Thursdays, I do more of my motivation, inspiration, me running my mouth. And then Sundays, I do my Bougie on a Budget videos where I share a lot of shopping tips, saving money, and things like that. Everywhere it is Tiara Nicole Speaks, and that's TIERA Speaks. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I had a website, but anybody want to manage me? But I am found everywhere at Tiara Nicole Speaks, so that's where you can find me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Of course.
Long time coming.
Yeah, man.
All right. Alicia.
Hey everyone, I am a health and patient advocate for psoriasis, sexual health, and mental and emotional health. I also have a blog, beingmeandmyown.skin.com, where I basically talk about what it's like to live with psoriasis, dealing with that mentally, emotionally, and physically. I also highlight other people with psoriasis. So if you have psoriasis or, you know, dealing with some mental health challenges, hit me up. You can find me everywhere at Alicia M. Bridges. That's ALISHA M. Bridges.
Perfect. Welcome. And thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate that.
This is fun.
Now, she said she would come out. She didn't think I was going to ask her. I called her bluff. I don't play that. You say you're coming on the show, I'm going to call you on the show. Brother Michael.
All right. Thank you for inviting me down to Atlanta. This was it was pleasant. It was good to get down here.
Good deal.
My family's here, so they're waiting for me to get back over to them. But you can find me, number one, my contact number is 844-214-1911. My website is msnell, my name, MSNELL, the word bespoke, BESPOKE.com. And then on social media, I have my own YouTube channel, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. On Facebook, I have about 10 pages on Facebook. Okay. One of my groups is about 30,000. I have another group that's about 16,000. And then the group is called Gentlemen vs. Swag LLC. You can't find it because it's a secret group, and we made it secret because we started getting some trash to try to join the group. So myself and my administrators keep a very tight lid on that. But you have to know somebody to order to get in a group. In this group, I primarily focus on men, but I use the influence of women, the power of women to try to change the mindsets of men. And we talk about financial literacy, we talk about health and fitness, we talk about style, we talk about, you know, table manners. I talk about everything. Self-published author of 3 books, all available on Amazon. It's called The Power of Your Look, The Importance of Your Look, and Dress Your Way to Success. So with that being said, my website is up now. I've had some difficulties. I'm pretty much finished with the website for the most part. My shoes are made in Madrid, Spain. My accessories are made in Istanbul, Turkey. My suits are custom made out of Seoul, Korea, the capital of Asia.
Wonderful.
So I'm a black man on the move, and I'm not going to stop until I get there.
Where can they find your website?
My website is www.msnellbespoke.com.
Wonderful. Give it to him one more time.
www.msnellbespoke.com. There we talk about the rebirth of the gentleman.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, I told you at the beginning of this show, this was going to be one of those deep shows that you need to record and play back or come back to the page later. You need to share it. You need to promote it, whatever you need to do, because we talked about the myth of the angry black woman. Now, 3 intelligent, well-spoken, successful women, 2 brothers on here representing for the men, and we got down to the core of it. The core of it is, if they see you as an angry black woman, that's a them problem. That's not your problem. I think one of the best ways that I've heard it said ever by anybody other than my girlfriend, Angela Rye, is that if you've been stepping on me and I point out that you've been stepping on me, and I'm paraphrasing, that's nothing wrong with me saying, hey, you're stepping on me. You need to move your foot. Nothing wrong with that at all. So again, thank you to each one of the guests for coming on the show. This has been a joy and a pleasure and a delight. Now, we do this every Saturday from 6 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. on Instinct Radio. I need you to follow us on social media. Twitter is Instinct_radio. Instagram is Instinct Radio. Facebook is Instinct Radio Station. Periscope is Instinct_radio. You can email us at instinctradiolive@gmail.com. The phone number is 478-569-6474. My team is dope. My team is deep, too. We do this every day. Just like this. Now, last thing I want you to understand, you can follow me at Talk with Jeffrey all over social media. Talk with Jeffrey. Now, I'm telling my kids, I tried Snapchat. I don't like it. I don't see the point. What's the point? So I ain't on Snapchat no more. I thought it was stupid. But okay, I'm not on it anymore. But you can find me everywhere else at Talk with Jeffrey. This has been a lot of fun. We learned a lot. We had a lot of good conversation. Everything is real smooth. But at this time, I am out.
All of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
So, Michael, add me to your group. Tierra,